Good morning, everybody. It is 9:02, so we're going to go ahead and get started on the SCTA RCPA Planning Advisory Committee meeting for August 15th. Welcome, everybody. Maybe we'll start with introductions, and I'll give it a start. My name is Noah Housh, City of Cotati, and I will throw it to Jane Wright.
Jane Riley, now the Sonoma Collaborative.
Abe Chan, ABAG MTC.
Michelle Whitman, Community Development Commission, and for the people that aren't in the room, Noah's got Batman socks on.
I usually try to have
Will Lyons, Permit Sonoma, Unincorporated County.
Good morning, Tanya Nara with the SCTA and RCPA.
Sheila Walski, City of Santa Rosa Planning.
Ellen McDowell, City of Guilford. Jennifer Gates, City of Sonoma.
John Jay, City of Sebastopol.
Chris Barney, SCTA, RCPA.
Great, and we'll throw it to Zoom. Let's keep with the SCTA RCPA theme, and then you can pass it on to whoever's next.
I'll start. Sorry about that. Margot Kanya, Senior Transportation Planner with Projects and Programming. I'll popcorn it to Ross.
Ross Clendenin, SCTA, RCPA, Communications, and I will pass it on to Adam.
Adam Garcia, Data Analyst, and on to Britt. Steph, that is.
Yeah, Steph. Steph Britt, SCTA, RCPA, Transportation Planner, and I'll pass it on to Owen.
Owen Christofferson, Assistant Planner with SMART, and I will pass it to Elliot.
Elliot Pickett, City of Roanoke Park, and I'll pass it on to Kevin.
Hi, Kevin Thompson, City of Cloverdale.
All right, is that everyone on Zoom?
We have
Good morning, everyone. Chirag Rabari with MTC ABAG.
Thank you. Okay. All right, the next item on our agenda is for meeting notes for April 18th. We do not have a quorum present in the room, do we? We do.
We do.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So we have an action item. Item 2A is the meeting notes from April 18th. Just want to confirm everyone has was either here for that meeting or reviewed the meeting notes. We can vote. All right, great. Drew, you want to call for a vote?
We can do voice vote with a motion in a second and by acclamation.
Excellent.
Like me to do a roll call of the jurisdictions present.
No roll call necessary. I'll go ahead and make them. Well, inappropriate for the chair. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Everyone in favor? Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? Let's see that passing unanimously.
Excellent. All right, and then we have some meeting notes from the meeting of June 20th, and then adoption of the agenda. I guess we should have acted on all of these, but any changes to the agenda? No. All right, we'll move forward. So item 3 on the agenda is the BAHFA expenditure plan, and unfortunately we got some bad news yesterday, and I'm going to let Michelle give us a summary. I think most of us are aware about Michelle. Let us know. Well,
First, I want to apologize to everybody that showed up in person to take a vote on this. It was, I think, going to be a happy occasion to get some planners on a steering committee that was going to take recommendations from our consultants and fine tune them. We were just about to get to the interesting and fun part. And I want to thank everybody who participated in the lead up to this anticlimactic conclusion. I know we all had big hopes and dreams for BAHFA, really exciting thing to noodle on for all of us, potentially having some resources to really carry out our housing elements, implement our housing elements, and fulfill our RENA obligations. And we're not off the hook for fulfilling our RENA obligations. So hopefully we see some positive news after the November elections with regard to the constitutional amendment to lower the voter threshold for affordable housing bonds. Should that win voter approval and survive any lawsuits that might follow it, that really smooths out the path for passage of a housing bond potentially in 2026. I think this exercise has proven that we can all work really well together and kind of see ourselves and our agencies and jurisdictions as a piece of a whole. And that was really the work up till now has really demonstrated that we're all working with that spirit. So one of the things that the big reveal that was about to happen is that our consultants, Forsyth Street Advisors, was going to daylight some recommendations that they had for how we might look at methodologies for our allocations. And their recommendations included the county giving some of its allocation, either for a countywide program or to, depending on the methodology you looked at, there are winners and losers, and to kind of smooth out that curve of the winners and losers. So we were headed in what I felt like was a really exciting direction. I think we're all crestfallen a little, but all hope is not lost. And I really want to, in addition to sort of grieving for our communities, have some empathy for the BAHFA staff and MTC ABAG staff that have, I mean, they've really moved heaven and earth to get us this far and give us this much hope. And they aren't dropping the ball. They'll continue to run with it. And thoughts are with them and with particularly our vulnerable community members that are really going to lose out on the housing and preservation that would have added to our housing inventory and potentially even protection. Sad day. I think we're all still in shock. Again, sorry if you came from far away, Jennifer. Hopefully you live here and not Sonoma.
Oh, it's I always come.
So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Michelle, and Ada for coming too. Does anyone on the committee have any questions? No? Okay, well, I just want to say thank you for what I think you did a really good job putting together what was on the process to be a really collaborative committee. I really appreciate the opportunity to have planning staff, city management staff and electeds all kind of thinking about this issue and being able to make recommendations. I thought the structure you had set up was excellent. I just really appreciated that, kind of in keeping with the collaborative philosophy that I think you really brought to the CDC and have been really trying to instill. So I just appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, well, on that note, we will move on to item 4 on the agenda, which is regional updates. And this is ABAG MTC.
Yeah, Chirag is actually online. He's gonna present to us today.
All right.
Yeah.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Chris, should I pull up the slides on my end over here?
Yeah, I think Drew's going. Drew, are you able to?
Yeah, you should be able to share.
Okay, should be good to go, Chirag.
Okay, great. Well, good morning, everyone. So my name is Chirag Rabari, and I am the project manager for Plan Bay Area 2050 Plus, and I am here to share just a few brief updates with you on where we are in the process right now. And if it's okay with everyone, I am going to drop a couple supplemental links in the chat just to, give a little bit more context. So basically where we are right now is roughly, halfway through this long range plan development process. And we just have hit a couple really key milestones, which are going to inform our next round, our second round of engagement that has kicked off in the last week or so, and will be continuing through early September on the public engagement side, and then into October on the partner engagement side, which obviously includes all of you. So I just dropped a link in the chat to like our detailed or a more detailed plan schedule. But just to give some context, the two big milestones that we had were the release of the findings of our draft blueprint analysis, which was essentially the first draft of the long-range plan, as well as the public release of our Transit 2050 Plus draft network, as well as draft strategies. So I just dropped a couple links in the chat, and these two deliverables are really what's informing the engagement that we are going to be pursuing over the next couple months. So, we are going to be out in the community across all 9 counties. And the major goals of this engagement are to share the outcomes of the draft blueprint, which I've provided a link to, as well as the Transit 2050 Plus draft network. And we'll be looking to get feedback that's going to help us inform the final blueprint, refine the draft Transit 2050 Plus network, and identify some of the challenges that we did identify as part of our draft blueprint analysis. We'll also be working to identify early priorities for implementing Plan Bay Area 2050 Plus. And there is a public comment period that is now open through September 9th. So in terms of the community engagement, we'll be doing 2 pop-up workshops per county. There is going to be a focus on equity priority communities, and in line with our Transit 2050 Plus effort, transit users. So you will see us at train stations and transit malls and hubs throughout the region. We also have an online survey that is available. We'll be looking to get feedback on essentially the same things that we will be providing at the pop-ups. I did just provide a link for complete details on our summer community engagement in the chat, and I'm also going to drop a link to our survey. Encourage you all to take that survey and share it widely amongst your networks. We also have a dedicated CBO engagement. 16 CBOs are going to be supporting us in a variety of ways, including, tabling at pop-ups that they've identified, as well as holding focus groups. We do have some tribal outreach that we will be pursuing, as well as digital promotion to raise awareness. Just so you know, I do encourage everyone to look at the link that I provided on the details of community engagement. There have been a couple changes that are notable, I think, particularly for this group. We had to reschedule the August 21st pop-up at the Petaluma Transit Mall. That is now tentatively going to be occurring on August 27th. And we also are planning on being at Sonoma Sundays on the Plaza on August 25th, and hope to see you all out there in the community when we are there. So we also will be doing a fair amount of partner engagement focused on local jurisdictions, agency staff, nonprofits, business, labor, et cetera. We did hold a webinar last week to kind of introduce everybody to the draft blueprint, as well as the draft Transit 2050 Plus network. And, we will likely hold at least one more a bit later in the process. I just dropped a link for more details on our partner engagement activities, and there is a link to the recording if you're interested in checking that out. We also recently sent out a save the date. Hopefully you all received that, but if not, please feel free to let me know so we can get you on our stakeholder list for all-day workshops that will be held on September 12th and 18th. So encourage you to save the dates for that. They're essentially the workshops will be the same on the 12th and the 18th, but both will have a morning and an afternoon session. One session focused on housing, the economy, and the environment, and another session focused on transportation. And we will also be doing office hours and one-on-one meetings later in the process, probably into October or so. So just to put a plug again for those September stakeholder workshops, which will be held at 375 Beale Street in San Francisco, we're really going to be focused on a few of these key questions, based upon the draft blueprint outcomes and the Transit 2050 Plus network, including, what are the most promising approaches for reducing affordable housing development costs? How best can we further bring down per capita greenhouse gas emissions, which, as you're probably aware, is one of the statutory requirements for the plan, and we're currently short of that target. We want to get a better feel for what types of transit improvements are going to be most likely to bring riders back to the system. We want to try to increase access to urban parks, particularly in some of the areas of the region that are slated to see a fair amount of growth. And then we're also exploring whether this plan, in terms of its pricing strategies, whether it should double down on all-lane tolling, which is what was included in the previous plan, or instead pivot and lean into a regional VMT fee, which a VMT fee is something that the state is currently exploring as a potential replacement for the gas tax. And with that concludes my presentation, and happy to answer any questions that you all may have. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Does anybody have any questions? Jennifer?
Hi, yes, this is Jennifer with the city of Sonoma. I was just wondering, for the plaza event that we're having, who are you coordinating with at the city?
That is a good question that I would probably refer to our engagement staff who are in the lead on planning those events, but I would be happy to follow up with them and maybe shoot you a note. Is there anything in particular that either we should be aware of or you'd like to know?
I just found out about this last night at my climate action meeting, so that's why I'm asking. So I just want to help make this successful. So but yes, if we could connect, that would be great.
Okay. Yeah, Chris, maybe you can share my my contact information, and Jennifer, you should feel free to reach out, and I'll put you in touch with our engagement staff just to make sure that we can have a successful event.
Yeah, and just Shrug, one thing I would add to that is we recently discussed trying to set up like an engagement calendar for all events that are occurring countywide in Sonoma County. So that way we can try to leverage each other's opportunities and then also help amplify them. So just sharing that information as early and often as possible allows us to kind of, I think, get more folks there, and then also leverage our own social media, outreach lists, et cetera, to help make it a success for other agencies that are trying to use our communities as kind of jump off points for engagement. So something to be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
All right, is there, it looks like Adam has a question.
Yeah, quick just clarification around just to check on the address for the Petaluma Transit Mall. I think it should be Copeland Street between Washington and East D. Lakeville actually is where the SMART station is, but Copeland is where all the buses primarily are. So just could have a table at both, maybe would be helpful. But just something to be aware of when you're trying to capture the right audience. There's a lot of bus riders that might not be taking SMART also. So just to be aware of.
Adam, thanks for that note. Please feel free to shoot me an email, maybe with a little bit more context. I think that would be helpful for our staff that are going to be setting up, just so they're aware of some of those nuances.
Okay, will do.
All right, great. Any other questions or comments? No. Okay, Shrug, thank you so much for taking the time.
All right, thank you all. Have a great day.
All right, moving on to item 5, Safe Streets and Roads for All grant update. This is Margot from SCTA RPA. RCPA.
Yes. Good morning. Drew, I think I inadvertently was sharing before, but let's see if we're good to go. All right. Let's see, hopefully I can do presentation mode. Is that working? Great.
Works. All clear, Marco.
Excellent. And then just trying to back up to the beginning. Good morning. It's a pleasure to meet with you virtually. Again, Margot Okanya, Senior Transportation Planner, supporting Shauna and David with projects and programming. I've now been on board for about 2 months and really had a wonderful opportunity to not only work with my own team, but also with partners in 5 of the jurisdictions in the county, collaborating on some grant development. But what I'd like to do this morning is just give you a quick overview on 2 Safe Streets for All projects. I'm an old Safe Routes to School person, so that sometimes slips out inadvertently. But let's start with the fiscal year 23. This is an application that was awarded prior to my arrival, but we'll be moving forward, particularly with the cities of Petaluma and Healdsburg to implement. The overarching kind of guide for this project was the Vision Zero Action Plan. And there are, for the total grant of 1.3 million, there are a series of Vision Zero Action Plan goals that we're looking to achieve through the following set of components, the largest of which is a Safe Routes to School planning. We'll be updating the city of Healdsburg and also developing a county-wide Safe Routes to School plan, which I'm really excited about. There's just been really great work done by Sonoma County Safe Routes to School organization, its partner schools, and I think there's an exciting opportunity to build off our update with Healdsburg and really try to develop a plan that is project delivery oriented in addition to very community-based planning. So that's the largest chunk of the project, followed by in Petaluma, a Lakeville corridor improvement study. Also with Healdsburg, the speed limit reduction engineering traffic study that will again be a baseline to from which we can amplify and do a countywide study. And then also to support some of our internal team here, some enhancements to the Vision Zero data dashboard. So what I've highlighted in the teal, if that's what you call it, to the right, we released the RFP at the end of July. We followed up that release to our pre-qualified bench partners, also to hopefully a wide network of non-bench consultants and CBOs, just to encourage them to have conversations with the prime consultants with the anticipation that we will be able to see some really robust proposals, which will be due on September 16th. So I'll be engaging not only with my own team, but also with Healdsburg and Petaluma to participate in the proposal evaluations. And the goal is to launch the project after sort of moving through the negotiations and contract signatures to launch the project in the latter part of this year. And we're aiming for about a 3-year project completion. So wrapping up in the summer of 2027. Next, as for this fiscal year, as I mentioned, I have been really appreciating the collaboration with the cities of Santa Rosa, Petaluma, Cotati, Town of Windsor, and City of Rohnert Park in developing sort of a 2-pronged approach. On the one prong, we are going to pursue a supplemental plan, specifically an ADA transition plan for the city of Cotati. And then the majority of the focus will be on planning for and installing demonstration projects, better known as quick builds or low-cost near-term projects within the 5 cities that I just listed. So we are looking at a grant will probably end up in the range of about $10 million for this project in total. And again, I've mentioned the 5 cities. Our timeline is such that our application is due quite soon. So August 29th, Hope to hear back at the end of this calendar year and to launch the project, assuming, and very hopefully will be awarded, to launch in spring of next year. And again, following sort of a 3-year timeline for the project. And just wanted to share that sort of the components that we're working on for the demonstration part of the project is, and in some ways we've sort of started the process, is really to develop and bolster and I guess amplify, those are all big words, but to build a quick build resource for all of the cities to share. We've had some good conversations among the 5 applicant cities about the way that they're currently doing quick build treatments, but if there are opportunities to enhance some of the lessons learned, what has worked well, what hasn't, maybe try out some modular components. We, in the city of Roanoke Park and Windsor, are looking to use modular kits of parts for some traffic circles and roundabouts. So excited about evaluating the impact of those, but really having us work together as a team to suss out guidance and standard plans and policies so that as cities, we become a lot more nimble in our application of these treatments in the built environment. So kind of starting with a demonstration toolkit, we hope to have a series of, pop-up events where we will host one-day events with very near-term materials like an engineering laboratory, in essence, where we get our engineers or the city engineers touching, feeling the treatments, having the community move through them, evaluate them, provide us our feedback, all of which will inform a final design for the quick builds, and then hopefully line us up in the queue for some great treatments to put into applications for permanent build out down the road. So that's kind of the flow of the process that we've started on now and hope to get funded for through the grant. And that's it on the 2 projects. So welcome to take any questions or clarifications.
Great, thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions? Elliot, looks like you do.
For City of Roanoke Park, do you know, have you been working with the Public Works Department?
Sure. So for this project, I've been working with Edie and yes, and I'm no disrespect. I'm so sorry. I'm completely blanking on the individual who's been supporting Edie and Jason.
Probably.
Thank you. I knew there was a J. Exactly.
Okay.
So they've been super collaborative. I think one of the steps that we took early on is after I had a chance to really bicycle and ride some of the routes that the cities had proposed. They were very open to additional recommendations, and there was some hesitancy, understandably, staff constraint. How could we install this? We might have some concerns. So I was really appreciative of the 5 cities. Most of their staff in person joined me for what we called a quick build workshop in-house. And everyone sort of had an opportunity to learn from each other. You know, what has worked well? How did you get that in so quickly? So that allowed us to sort of move forward, keeping a pretty, what I would say, a robust and really exciting scope of work for across the 5 cities, getting a sense that they could sort of learn to lean on each other from some of the recommendations. So.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions from Zoom? I don't see any hands. Okay. Margot, just for Katati, I know we have in our in our active transportation plan, which we've gotten adopted, it's completed. We have a couple pilot program ideas that are included in the plan, including protected bike lanes and some bulb outs. Oh, yeah, it would be great if you could look for opportunities for trying to implement some of those because they were intended to be kind of quick build pilots. But one of the things that we've been hearing about, which I think is a county-wide concern and probably broader, is the ability to get the street sweeper behind the protections for the bike lanes. And so I know most people are aware of that, but I just wanted to highlight it is that's one of the concerns that I'm hearing from Public Works and my city manager, who's the former Public Works director, as to how we could kind of walk on both sides of that line. So just something to be aware of.
Absolutely. And I have been coordinating with Craig Scott. Okay, excellent. But I do want to make sure I will circle back with him. There's a Redwood Drive component that we're looking at now, but it sounds like there might be some others that are identified through your active transportation plan.
Yeah, West Sierra.
Okay.
West Sierra and East Cotati are the others, but I'm happy to coordinate with Craig a little bit too.
Okay,
But yeah, we just got that adopted, so Craig may not be fully familiar with all of the.
good to know. All right. I will circle up with you offline after this meeting.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay, no, thank you for the input on the maintenance, as we know, is really an Achilles heel throughout, whether it's vegetation or cleaning, et cetera. So I'm really glad that you're raising it, because I think we do need to start thinking about how we're going to address it, because we want to ease the challenges on the cities to be able to keep these elements up and accepted by the community. So.
All right, thank you so much. So that moves us to item 6 on the agenda, standing updates. Maybe I'll throw it to our kind of regional folks, Chris or Ada first, in case you guys have any, and then we can get into individual staffs.
Yeah, I have a few, unless you want to. Okay, just a few. Okay.
Like a verb.
Yeah, just a few updates on a few projects that we've presented on in the past. So the VMT mitigation banking and exchange project, we've officially kicked off. So that's underway right now. So we're actually forming the technical advisory committee for that group. So we'd like to have a rep from every jurisdiction. So if you haven't heard from me yet, I may be reaching out to see if you're willing to participate in that. So the idea is to have 4 meetings that'll be virtual, just to provide feedback on the recommended program and potential mitigation. So yeah, so more to come on that soon. So far we have the outreach plan, a draft outreach plan from Fair and Peers on that, and a key issues document they've put together. So that'll be the focus of that first meeting, which will likely be in September. And we're looking at wrapping that up by the end of next year, having some recommendations for a potential program for our county. We've also just kicked off the community-based transportation planning effort. We're developing plans in the South Santa Rosa Avenue corridor and Central Roanoke Park. So right now we're working on scheduling check-in meetings for each area. We're looking at doing those every couple weeks for each area. So again, look for some invitations to those meetings if you're in the city of Santa Rosa or Roanoke Park. So that will be kicking off soon. So we're very excited to see that move forward as well. Yeah, I think those are the main things I have. There's a lot of other things going on, but you know, bike share is moving along. So bikes will be out sometime later this year, probably. So transit integration, active transportation plans are, you know, we're hoping to see a draft document. I think Dana's reviewing that this week. So a lot of activity.
Yeah, we're hearing September for the bikes. What do you think?
We'll see. Yeah. that may have been, yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Not holding no commitment, but that's what we had heard.
Yeah. Hopefully, but yeah, don't be disappointed if it's October. So yeah.
Okay.
Getting closer.
Great.
Yeah. So that's it for me. And Ada, do you have any additional?
No, sorry.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit of a storm.
Yeah.
I'm still in grieving.
Yeah.
All right, well, maybe we'll throw it to our folks on Zoom and start up in Cloverdale. Kevin, if you're ready.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Sorry, one of these days I'll make it down there. So probably one of the more exciting things is there's an approved resort in town, and not granted it's been approved, it's been in some sort of development for the last 20 years, but there seems to be real interest in it now by this group out of the Bay Area. And so they have a really cool concept of this European style village with walking and all kinds of public spaces. And it's just really a nice design. So hopefully that will come through. That will really help this town out in terms of revenue, which we're sadly in need of. And just real quick, we have 2 ballot initiatives going. a sales tax for 3/4. It's a little high, but we're the only city without a sales tax initiative. And then we have another one to amend our UGB to assist an assisted living that's up on the hill to get into the city, which is currently out of our UGB, and the county won't allow them to do any expansion. Our city manager is leaving at the end of the year. So I think that's about it from Cloverdale. Thank you.
Thanks, David. So I can't see the Zoom list, but
Do you want to read some names out?
Elliot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Elliot. And
sure.
then Owen. And Santa Rosa. Yeah.
okay, that's fine. Yeah, we'll stick with Zoom and then go to the folks in the room. So Elliot, we'll put you up next. Yeah.
I heard my name, so I can go. General plan, EIR is moving into tribal consultation soon, so that's still moving forward, looking at public circulation, late fall perhaps. City is working on its local hazard mitigation plan update with a spring 2025 due date. Some of you all have heard from me as part of the stakeholder outreach, but if you haven't heard from me and you want to be involved, reach out and I can take in your input. We are looking at joining the multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan county-wide when it happens, but there's about an 18-month gap between our deadline and what the county needs to do. Development projects, we've still got a lot of our large development projects and development areas moving forward. Exciting new things at different stages. I guess the biggest item would be the downtown developer selection moving forward. We're expecting to see a developer selection item, whether that's an informational update or perhaps an ENA, going to City Council in the next 2 or 4 weeks. So that is an exciting step. And that's it for me.
Sure. Smart, do you have any updates for us? Smart staff?
Yeah, I can give a little smart update. Let's see. We some folks from the Transit Technical Advisory Committee may have heard this yesterday, but we carried just over 88,000 riders in July, which was another record-breaking month for us. So that's really exciting. July we recorded, we're at about 145% of what our pre-pandemic ridership was. So that's really exciting that we're just kind of, we're so far ahead of that. We also have been seeing really record Saturday and Sunday ridership. So we also broke records for average Saturday and average Sunday ridership next year. Just this week, we have also added 2 trips for a total of 42 trips per weekday. This is the highest level of service that Smart has ever run. One of the 2 trips we added was a commute hour trip in the morning, especially to facilitate some school connections. And the other trip was filling in some of those midday gaps that we have. That's also very exciting. We are also going to be slightly revising our airport shuttle service area to include the neighborhood of Larkfield Wickiup. So those folks will now have access to the on-demand Smart Connect shuttle to take them to the Sonoma County Airport, to and from the Sonoma County Airport station. And we are also just starting a real-time signage project. So we will have live arrivals at all of our platform shelters. You'll start to see those signs going in the next few months. Yeah, that's it from Smart.
Great, exciting news. Thank you.
So yeah, the other individuals we see on Zoom are from Santa Rosa, which we have the member in person, and SCTA staff. So I think those who are just on Zoom have spoken.
Great, yeah. We'll pivot back over to in-house and maybe start with the county.
Sure. Just some general notes. First phase of the general plan update is underway, which is largely to get an understanding of what is going to be required when we actually start updating the general plan. So that's ongoing, but exciting. The spring specific plan is plugging along as well, as is the airport specific plan. And then I believe the environmental justice and public safety element updates / new stuff is largely underway and coming up, which is very exciting. And then just a quick note on our builder's remedy projects are plugging along. They're still under analysis. I think some of them, I think Hannah Center is about to go into EIR status. So you know, we're trying to get our hands around it, get our brains around it too. But that's updates from the county.
Great, thank you. Sheila, you want to go for Santa Rosa?
Sure, I will. So for policy work, the city's reviewing the admin draft EIR for the general plan update. And we'll probably have a public review of the draft in late September. And we're hoping for adoption in the first quarter of 2025. We are also finishing up our resilient city ordinance that should go to the council by the end of this year. And that was several measures that were meant to streamline city processes following the winds and hubs fires. We're preparing a study session for council to consider applying a senior housing overlay to the existing mobile home parks in the city. Yeah, that goes. Continuing the first phases of South Santa Rosa specific plan and working on using some of our remaining funds for our housing programs. In terms of development projects, 420 Mendocino, that's 161 units right downtown, is under construction. And we're kicking off the EIR stop-ins for the Chinook Woodlands, which is the Sutter Community Hospital area. Pullman Lofts is in phase 3 with another 69 units coming in. That's right in Railroad Square. And we are looking at a concept design for, I call them the cheap seats, but the movie theater that is on 3rd Street and back of where Towns and La Bandita are. So they're looking at a conference center there, proposed 4 stories and 100,000 square feet of floor. Things are happening. Yeah. And that's it.
All right.
Unless anyone online has anything to add.
Great, well, we'll just keep moving around the table, maybe, Ellen?
All right,
Anything for you?
we don't have quite as much going on as Santa Rosa. I do have a lot going on. Our projects, North Village at the north end of town, our senior housing project, that is pretty much finished. I went out and did the final last week. So that should be, people are moved in, going well. Our Mill District project at the south end of town, we've just TCO 2 of those buildings, so we can start moving in Labor Day. So that's exciting. One of our affordable housing projects just received funding. The affordable housing that goes along with our Montage project, so that just received funding and that will start construction soon-ish. And we do have a ballot initiative on the ballot this year. We have Measure O, and that will remove the GMO from certain areas of town, mostly like the downtown area. We'll remove our growth management ordinance, so we spur something. But that's the hope. I think that's about it for us.
So even less. Here. As far as any changes, since the last time we met, still moving, playing along on our general plan, and we are gonna have a another detailed discussion on land use specifically, next week with the planning commission, so that we can get going on the rest of the document after that. And we are we did the notice of preparation for the EIR, so we just closed the NOP for a 50-unit project. The reason why we're doing an EIR is because they're going to demolish a historic building in order to do it. And let's see what else. We do have some projects. People are starting to talk about some housing projects, but we do. We'll see how this goes along. And then I think that's really one of the big things that we're working on, and then just things keep happening, so, you know. normal Fires.
Yeah.
Take up more time.
Yeah.
Yeah, a few things from, I think the last time we met. We are at the tail end of hopefully hiring a community development director for the city of Sebastopol, which has been vacant for a little while. So I am hopeful that by the end of this month, they'll have a selection, and then however long it takes to onboard them, and that process moving forward. As far as development projects go, our SB 35 project, which is the Woodmark Apartments on Bidig Avenue. The first phase of construction is looking at finalizing those buildings by the end of this month. So they'll start moving in folks soon after that. And we also have a couple other projects that just pulled their grading and utilities permits. So the Canopy project, which is at the north end of town, it's 80 townhome units. And the Huntley Square project, which is another one on Bodega Avenue, it's 10 units. That project's been around for a little while. All their grading and utility plans. We are also working on another hotel project for the Barlow. They are requesting a CEQA exemption as part of that, so we're going through to make sure that you can qualify or not. And
That general plan consistent secret exemption for a hotel project was
yeah. Or let Jane or I know, that would be great. And we have a project low income with St. Vincent de Paul at the north end of town, which is 22 affordable units. They're going to be looking at pulling the building permits within the next couple of months here and start hopefully constructing that either late this year or early next year. So that's all I have for Sebastopol. Unless Jane has anything else she wants to add.
That's enough.
All right, great. Well, I'll wrap it up for Katati. We signed a ENA with Freebird to develop 100 or 120 East Katati Avenue, which is a parcel that's been it's a vacant parcel. We've entitled multiple projects on it. Nothing was able to move forward, and the city ended up purchasing it with our affordable housing fund. And we're going to build about 50 units of affordable housing. So it's very exciting. We're really happy to be working with Robin and her team. They seem excellent. So that's great. Our hotel is under construction. It's been quite a process to get that there due, but they are about to pour the foundation. So that's exciting. And then our Centero Way specific plan, we amended the EIR to add TOC policies into the remainder of the half-mile radius. So the idea is once we get to being ready to rezone those, the environmental analysis will be done and allow it to move forward. That's pretty exciting as well. We're still in scoping for that. We have a Katati Village project that's approved, but the developer packaged the financing with a second phase. And that second phase is 120 units. That's of multifamily, and that's going to the city council for final action at the end of this month. So if that happens, then the developer will move forward with about 300 units of multifamily housing right on Highway 116 and Alder Avenue, kind of behind Acre Pizza and Jane Dispensary, if you're familiar with that site. So it's very exciting for us. It includes some very low income affordable housing units because it's density bonus. So that'll be really good to get that going. And it seems like it's going to kind of finally be able to be a project that's financeable and basically meets the economic needs of the developer. Then we're doing some ordinance work as well. We have a Plex housing design guideline project that's going to the city council also at the end of the month, but it includes a ton of housing streamlining options. One of the things we're doing is adopting the density bonus parking standards citywide. Yeah, just kind of really trying to streamline a lot of housing measures. So that's pretty exciting effort. And then we've been working on some of our housing element policy work as well, updating the density bonus ordinance and kind of ensuring general plan zoning consistency among all of our properties. Just trying to tick off the boxes on the housing element project list. But with that, I will turn it back over to Chris. Or no, we'll go to public comment on items 2 through 8. Seeing no hands, no one in the room wishing to speak, we'll close public comment. Last item on the agenda is adjournment. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Did you say Rena?
So. Yeah,
Oh,
just about to start shopping.
Um,
So.